Mountain back to Atlantic Ocean. Upon me hills to Pocondre. To educate, elevate, and promote. Yeah. Focus on Liberia. For Liberia, Liberia. For Liberia, yeah, 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 yeah. From Monday to Sunday. From Monday to Sunday. It's focus on Liberia. Talk about home affairs. Hey. In diaspora. Current affairs. Reliable information. History. Talking about culture. Politics. Education. Entertainment. Business. Sports. Advertisement. Articulation. Focus on Liberia. Focus on Liberia. Focus on Liberia. From Monday to Sunday. Focus on.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Focus on Liberia. My name is Dennis Jar, and we are broadcasting from Atlanta, Georgia. Tonight, we got very bad news from Monrovia. That is the death of Liberians in the hands of what appears to be an act of domestic terrorism. This is very sad. So I've gathered some Liberians together, including the chairman of the Unity Party USA and Canada, Mr. Capet Dwyer. The Liberians were celebrating at the headquarters of the Unity Party because today it was announced by the National Election Commission that Unity Party standard bearer Joseph Newman Boaka is the winner of the round of elections. So has supporters and partisans of the Unity Party gathered at the party headquarters to celebrate something very terrible that appears to be an act of domestic terrorism that occurred. With me to discuss this, I have the unapologetic and unabashed edition, Mr. Jerome Gilman. Mr. Gilman, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for having me. You know, I like to appear on Focus on Liberia and discuss the issues, never under these circumstances. My heart goes out to the victims, and hopefully justice can be served.
Thank you. Let me welcome the chairman of Unity Party USA and Canada, Mr. Capet Dwyer. Mr. Dwyer, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Dennis, and good evening to the panelists.
Let me be honest about this. The show was planned for us to talk about the Unity Party victory and the role of Unity Party USA. While we are planning to get on to come on the show, this tragic news broke, so we have to switch gear because we cannot discuss anything more because this is so tragic. Let me welcome Mr. Jimmy Eastman. He's an analyst here and also co-host at Focus on Liberia. Mr. Eastman, welcome to the show.
Thank you for inviting me on, Dennis. This is a very tragic situation, and it deserves our immediate concern. And I hope we can get some details tonight so we can address the issue. I'm getting reports that the culprit has even been arrested, but I will not talk anything until we get further into the show.
Thank you, Jimmy. Let me welcome Mr. Aliyu Kamara, a staunch supporter. I do not believe he is a partisan of the Unity Party. Maybe he's a party crasher, but I will let him say it. Mr. Aliyu Kamara is a friend here. Welcome, Mr. Aliyu.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Dennis. First of all, let me say kudos to CAPE. They did a wonderful job. Some of us were only buttressing their effort, but they are the members of the party. Uh, we thought it was necessary at this time, given the experience of the Unity Party and its technical know-how, we figured it would be the best political party at this time to redeem Liberia, and this is why we fought along with them to see this day possible. But all power to them. It is their political party. I am not a member. I just fought for them because I know they could make the difference. So it's an honor to be on here with you, Cape, and job well done.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Last and definitely not the least is Father Elijah B. Johnson. Sorry, Elijah B. Washington. Mr. Washington, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Dennis, sir. I'm humbled to be on the show to share the platform with your guests, sir. It's a sad day in our country, and our hearts go out to all the families, sir. We pray that our country leadership will show some leadership at this time and make sure that whoever is involved will be brought to justice.
Thank you. Let me welcome all our viewers from across the globe. This is Focus on Liberia, an act of domestic terrorism, or what appears to be, happened today in Monrovia. We have Mr. Capet Dwyer. So today, first thing, it was announced that the Unity Party of Joseph Newman Boakai, Mr. Boakai, has won the elections, and so there was jubilation at the party's headquarters. Take a look.
Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, whatever you're watching from. This is Liberian Television Network, coming to you live from the Unity Party headquarters here on Broad Street in Monrovia, where the partisans of the Unity Party are here celebrating the victory of Ambassador Joseph Newman Boakai as newly elected president of the Republic of Liberia. We are here bringing you the live coverage.
It's celebration. People are jubilating because, and we are not new to this kind of jubilation when campaigns are won. Then later this evening now, we have these photos coming from the headquarters of the Unity Party, where an act believed to be that resembles domestic terrorism. So let me ask Mr. Capet Doyen, who's the chairman of the Unity Party USA, to first, Mr. Doyen, we were supposed to be celebrating. You were supposed to be here celebrating tonight. Now it's so summer and very tragic. This is very sad for all of us. Let me get your take on this. First of all, what is the story? You are in contact with people from Monrovia. What is the story?
Dennis, first of all, thank you. You reached out today, and the nature of the show would have been a lot different, but events on the ground have dictated that we change course. I want to ask for a moment of silence for the victims of today's domestic terrorism and pray for their families, for God to give them comfort, and for those who have been killed in cold blood to be received in the kingdom of God. This is a very sad day for us as Unity partisans. It is a sad day for us as Liberians that while our people exercise patience, waiting in long lines, first to register to vote, then to vote in the first round, then to vote in a runoff to determine the future of their country. Some of our compatriots feel that exercising violence against those who disagree with them is their method of democratic expression. On behalf of our leadership, I want to express to you that our standard bearer, the president-elect, is deeply, deeply saddened by what has happened today. He is following those events, will be addressing the Liberian people as it becomes clear to the point that the president-elect can make a statement. What we do know so far, you have said it, this vehicle, witnesses have alleged that the vehicle has menaced them from the beginning of the round two, from election day. It was parked on Snapper Hill by UBA Bank for hours, and suddenly it rammed into the crowd with all doors open to have the maximum effect of knocking down as many people as possible. And then at the bottom of the hill by the finance ministry, they jumped out of the vehicle, set it on fire, and escaped on a motorcycle. This tells us that the perpetrator has enough financial wherewithal to determine that they should burn a vehicle. It is of no consequence to them. It's just nothing. They can burn a car. This kind of act links to people with deep pockets. I don't think many people in Liberia can even afford to burn a bicycle, much less a vehicle. We took President Weah at his word when he gave the concession, congratulated him, and we've been hailing him for an act that we thought was in the best interest of the peace and security of the country, recognizing the will of the people. This is an opportunity for him to demonstrate to the people of Liberia and to the world that these were not just empty words, that the machinery of government, whether or not there was disagreement within his ranks, so the concession, which we know about, was according to law, according to the will of the Liberian people. And those who have chosen to take the law into their own hands, he must demonstrate to the world and to Liberia that he means to be a man of peace. This cannot be one of those unsolved murders. It will not be tolerated. Justice must prevail here. This is unacceptable. It's barbaric. It does no good for the future of our country or the future of our democracy. And I pray for those families that are grieving tonight. We are grieving as a nation. We are grieving as a party. But most importantly, the families of those who have lost their lives and those who have been severely wounded and may not have the normal physical capabilities for the rest of their lives. Thank you for hosting this, for us to discuss this very important and very sad development.
Thank you, Mr. Doyen. Mr. Doyen, before I go to the next panelists. Was it one person in the car or two persons? You said
We don't have those details. It was dark. The information we have is that the car lights were off. We don't know. We don't have those details. Those details are coming forward, but the car has been identified, and allegedly it is being linked to Mayor Jefferson Koji.
wow. And we also hearing that the person or the perpetrator has been identified. What are you hearing?
I haven't heard that yet because you and I have been on here for the past, almost 45 minutes now. So while we're on, I didn't take phone calls, but that will be a good thing to know.
Thank you. And as you can see, this is the burn. These are the pictures we're getting from Monrovia. The car being set on fire right there. You see, there are some graphic photos. We don't want to show them. And so this is indeed sad. Let me start. Let's go around the horn. Let me get your initial reaction to this act that I really term as domestic terrorism. Elijah.
Yeah, Dennis, I think it's hard to fathom what is going on. I'm yet to get all the details. I don't want to make any security statements or things that might link somebody. But I just wanted to speak to the families tonight. I want to speak to our people who are hurting. That we are with them. We're praying with them. We pray that God will be close to them at this time, and we pray that our president will exercise leadership or make sure that our police officers out there will make sure to do the right thing, and whoever is involved will be brought to justice. But I think this is a sad day for our country. I mean, when everybody's supposed to be celebrating. I mean, after this elections, I expect everybody to be celebrating. Be you CDC or you belong to whatever political party, now it's our country. Now it's the time to come together in order for us to start working for the good of our country. I mean, to see what is happening, it's difficult to fathom. And I just pray that those families who have lost loved ones will God will bring strength and comfort to them.
And I've tried to reach security expert Coach King, Charles Abel King. I've not been able to get him. But before coming on the show, I tried to ask security personnel whether it is safe for me to call this an act of domestic terrorism. And one of the security experts I spoke with said, in the case of journalism, you can go ahead and say that, but the security personnel would not until they get the facts. But if we look at, if the information we're getting is true, that the people are celebrating, the car, 4 doors were open, and you plow through the crowd, kill people, got a motorbike, first set the car on fire, meaning it was intentional. This was not an act of accident. And set the car on fire, and then you take a motorbike and go. So to me, but let me hear your thoughts too. Let's go to Aliu.
Yeah, the first thing that comes to my mind is, the death penalty. Because I know it's a little too extreme. But my recommendation is that if he is found, whoever committed this act, if they're found to be guilty of committing such an act, there should be no penalty shy of the death penalty. See, we have to set the record straight moving forward. CDC has done things that only a military junta could do. Since they took over in 2018, they have done some things deliberately, as if to say they're just one of those group of people that can do whatever they want at any time, and nobody can tell them. And Jefferson Koji had a press conference, I believe it was yesterday, and I am not accusing him. He said,
let's correct that. You said CDC have done things. Are you implying CDC did this? I don't want us to take it.
No, it's not us, so it's me. I can't put it past, as remember again, the first person pronoun, I cannot put it past the CDC. I will not, because CDC has proven or have proven to be capable of committing atrocities. And if Joe Bucker does not put an instinct nip this thing instantly, people will continue to do this afterward. We got to put a stop to this immediately.
Thank you. Thank you. Jimmy.
Okay, this is a very sad day in our history where innocent people are mowed down for no apparent reason. It is definitely an act of carelessness, and who knows what more it may be. Security wise,
You said
I was
carelessness?
at no less than carelessness.
Okay.
That's the minimum we could say. It could be much more than that. As the facts come in, there will be greater conclusions made. But at present, we just hope that the area was secured and evidence was taken and noted, and people were immediately interviewed so that we will have a fresh recollection of the events that took place. That those are usually the procedures one will take when such an occurrence happens. We would like to hear someone in authority speak to this issue to make it official. We're getting rumors that the culprit was found and was taken somewhere for questioning. And again, this is rumor. I think the sooner we hear someone in authority speaking to this matter, it will begin to address the issues and the concern that Liberians have. We're at a point now that is critical because we're about to see a turnover of power, and these sort of incidents are not good signs. So I guess we're waiting now to hear somebody from the current administration come to the public and expose what is going on so that people will know that we do have an authority in place.
Thank you. Mr. Gaiman.
I think when we came on here, the purpose of this particular show is to address the tragedy that just happened in Liberia. But I am appalled that Casper Dwyer and Alio Kamara are politicizing something that's tragic in our nation's history. The investigation, arrest, and everything is going on. Yet, in the midst of this, I'm reading on Front Page Africa, and we got conflicting information on what happened. We know that when something like this happened, it is tragic. It could be possible terrorism. Anybody who does this intentionally should have that label. But until the dust settles for anybody to say the president, Jefferson Koji, CDC is responsible, it is reckless. This is why we say words have meanings. There are unity partisans out there now who are listening to these leaders, telling them to go after Jefferson Koji and the president. This is on nerve-wracking, my friends. Few weeks ago, we saw what happened in Foya, what words means when a young man was killed brutally. In fact, there were 4 people killed in Lofa. There were 1 killed in Nimba. Yesterday, I was on the air. There were Maroons of Unity Partisan in Cape Mount with cutlasses, chasing people, breaking into the store. They are trying to kill sedition. And we said these things have to stop. For Casper Dwyer, who is the leader of the Unity Party of the United States, to come on this platform to not sympathize with the Liberians, but to come politicize it, it's a shame on him. And I have to say that categorically and forcefully, that people have lost their lives and we need to concentrate on this. It is a horrific crime. The person needs to be brought to justice. And we shouldn't politicize this. And I'm ashamed that this man will come on this show to say this. and to be buttressed by Kamara that CDC, this is not beyond the pale that CDC can do that. This is a shame on our leadership, on people who are in power. People love their lives. That person should be brought to justice. And that should be the focus of all Liberians. And not pinpoint the president. The president, please.
Mr. Gaiman, what Dwayne was saying was this is the
don't tell me what Dwayne was saying. Let
hold
Dwayne just say
on now, Mr. Gaiman. Let me speak, and you can talk.
Yeah.
I asked him, what they're hearing. He said this is what the information that he's getting from Monrovia. Right.
And allow me, Dennis, to respond to that, please.
Go ahead quickly before more.
I think I started off by praying for the victims, expressing condolences, and referring to our commendation of President Weah for his concession, and expressing that the proof in the pudding, that his words are not empty words, would be that he would see to that justice be done. I don't see how that is politicizing the situation when Gaiman comes here, he ignores all of that I said and mischaracterizes that I pointed fingers at President Weah. I said clearly that allegations that have pointed the vehicle and the driver and linked them to Jefferson Koji. So let us not have amnesia that the 6 years of this administration did not see unsolved mysteries of people dying. I'm not politicizing this, Jerome. I'm just stating the reality of what we have heard, what has been our lived experience under the CDC government, and what has happened tonight. This was not a random act. This was an act of political violence, domestic terrorism. And nothing I said here was intended to politicize it. Everything I said was to identify with the victims, express our sympathy, and call on the president, who remains president for roughly another 2 months, to make sure that justice is done.
Thank you.
The fact that people are arrested brings me no immediate comfort, because it's the arrestee, the doer of the act, or is it a cover-up? Former Chief Justice Gloria Scott is sitting in prison right now, accused by this government for murdering her own daughter, pouring pepper in her grief. So don't tell me about politicizing. The government has the power to arrest anybody out there and say, oh, we caught the person. This will be investigated thoroughly.
Thank you.
So arresting somebody tonight will not give me cause to jump up and down that they have caught the person. Hopefully that is the doer. But until I get to the bottom of it, believe me, the confidence is not very high. And it is incumbent upon President Weah to own up to his need to give the Liberian people confidence in these premises. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sharif. Before I come to you, there's the Unity Party statement here saying an unidentified driver with a plateless Jeep switched off the lights on the vehicle and willfully struck a gathering of Unity Party supporters who were celebrating the final results of the November 14, 2023 presidential runoff election, causing significant harm to at least 20 supporters of the Unity Party. Of the 20 victims, 3 have already been pronounced dead, at the JFK Medical Center. Mr. Sharif.
Yeah, this is a tragic moment in our political history. What you see now is probably a culmination of all of what have occurred throughout the electioneering process. First, my heart goes out to the family members of the victims, and our best wishes to those who are lying in hospital beds uh, tonight and this morning in Monrovia. And to those who don't have hospital beds, we know the healthcare system in our country is very dilapidated, to put it mildly. And so I will. So so today, uh, the country beckons for leadership. The country has beckoned for leadership during the electioneering process. I didn't see one. So again, the challenge is out now. The country beckons for leadership. I will hope that the president comes out and deliver an address, speak to the nation about this. I'm trying to be very careful here, um, and trying to make sure that the security does its job and they do it correctly. But at the same time, without caution, it's an invitation to our national leaders. Keep in mind, we still have a sitting president whose responsibility it is to speak to the nation, to address the Liberian people, to ensure that this never happens again, to ensure that the perpetrator or perpetrators, whoever they are, that they are held, that they face the full weight of the law of the Republic of Liberia. Uh, we have seen enough tragedy in this small country. But again, I will caution all sides here, ourselves. You know, I know that at times we are tempted uh, to lay blames on either side. But let's be careful. Um, let's let's give this 24 to 48 hours in our speculations and whatnot. Um, let's see what the security is going to do tomorrow morning, the next day, and maybe even 3 days from now. Let's see what they're going to do, and let's not start casting blame. We've seen what you know. So the president, we've been saying that oh, what a fantastic speech, concession speech that he has delivered, and now you want to follow that up with making sure that you show
Mr.
leadership.
Sharif, somebody is interfering with your speech. Somebody playing some music or somebody talking.
Can somebody mute?
Yeah, I took care of it. Go ahead, Mr. Sharif.
Okay. So we saw that the president delivered a beautiful speech, concession speech, which is rare in our part of the world that we come from. So I will invite the president to follow that up with launching a full-scale investigation. Me as an individual, I do not believe that this president, and mind you, I have been accused of being anti to this president, but I do not, sitting here, political analyst on this show, I do not believe that this president is complicit in anything like this. This is brutal. This is unbelievable. But again, the series of events that have occurred and that have led to this that weren't investigated throughout the country, you can then say that why is the question. Why wasn't those why weren't those issues, those deaths, those violence investigated? Why weren't anyone arrested and incarcerated, tried, and punished for their crime? So when you do that, when you let the criminals go free, you give license to freelancers. So even though the president may not be complicit, but there are freelancers out there who may then see this as an opportunity to get in one last shot. But again, I want to be careful. I want to ensure that the security does its job. We want to give the government the opportunity to do their job as we pray for the victims, as we ensure that all of us, I think, because we know that our country government system is decrepit. So it's incumbent upon all of us now to step in and assist those who are lying in hospitals, including those who are not in hospitals, those who are not able to get into hospitals. And so, our hearts are heavy, and this is really a tragic moment in our political history.
Mr. John, can I interject real quick?
Yes, sure.
I have very seldom have I agreed with Mr. Sharif, but I have to agree with him on this one. The amount of horrific crimes that have been committed during these elections and prior to the elections, and the government security apparatus failure to even arrest or to make public that these people have been arrested, apprehended, to be a deterrent to the rest of the folks have never happened. And this is my own government. It's never happened. And if this happens where there is no accountability when it comes to law and order, criminality, these are the kind of things people take upon themselves to become vigilante, to take laws into their own hands. And this is what, so this one, according to Mr. Sharif, he has never made a point so poignant that this one, based on his inaction or the inaction of the Justice Ministry, I put this squarely at the feet of the president, because those that he appointed in government, Musa Din in particular, to have failed this miserably. Not one person have ever been persecuted says a lot about who these people are. And I think Mr. Sharif is right. If the president was not personally involved, he is guilty by appointing people who are either inept or deliberately undermining his administration. Thank you very much. For the first time, I have to agree with you on that.
Dennis, can I come in for a second here? You hear me okay?
Hold on, Aliyu, just 1 second. A lot of things have happened, and nobody tonight, I do not believe that we have all the facts to make any accusation to point finger. But based on what we've heard so far, the actions were deliberate, because this was not an accident. If you drive car through a crowd to mow them down, we've seen it in Europe, in America. That's the way, the new act of domestic terrorism that we've seen across the world. So this one smells like it. And as most of you alluded to, is depending on what the government is going to do. We saw the brutalization of Christopher Civilli. And that the guys, this was in broad daylight. They took them to the police station. These were all members of this COP USA. And again, this happened prior to Jefferson Koji making some statements. Quite recently, Jefferson Koji was talking again. I'm not accusing or pointing finger, but people are looking at pattern. Let's take a listen to what Jefferson Koji has said recently.
All political institution. We say we truly appreciate this journey. Want to say to you, sedition, you are not solved. You cannot melt. Neither can you vanquish. You are solid people. You You are convicted people. In this fight, not to surrender. We can probably beat our chest and say we are the only group of patriots in this country. We have taken our ambition below, and men having sold for the patriotic existence of this country. Today, we want to say to you, partisans, we have come to let you know you are not defeated. Partisans, we have come to let you know, remain courageous, remain ever potent. You are a peaceful driven people. Never be intimidated. Nothing in this country can change. Not even victory can intimidate you. If anyone is pronounced victorious, we're going to show you, we march to the microphone, we congratulate them. That's who we are. We are patriots. We are nationalists. So partisans, do not be intimidated. You had a time, the Liberian people gave you an opportunity. It was serviced. We are convinced that we run our services to the Liberian people. If they believe that was not credible, was not appreciated by them, it is in their purview to make decision. You must feel vindicated. Remain religiously committed to your institution. The CDC is not here to visit. It is a movement, and we are taught not to forget about each other. Citizens, wherever you are in your respective community, remain kind. Do not be provoked. Sedition on our voice. We have come to ask you. Stand up and do not in any way lose hope. Do not be provoked. Neither should you be intimidated. You are a Liberians. You guys are Liberians. No ballet here. You survived the worst condition 12 years here. Whereas nothing can change here. And you think that if victory is here, it is an imagination dissipating a movement, you are sadly mistaken. We have been down the road before. We're not stranger. We're not Victory FC. We are an institution. We believe this is the only most popular grassroots movement since the foundation of this country.
Yo, Congress here to stay. Yo.
Yeah. Victory is not there now. So, partisans, want to say to you, your president is in good health. Your standard bearer, he has up to you. He cares for you. You shall never be abandoned. He never did it before. He will not do it. Everything is intact. Stay here. We inform you of our mass gathering, where you will come and we give you your full marching order. Those of our partisans in the respective countries who are very concerned, we say to you, do not be provoked, neither do you be intimidated. We have come to assure you, remain kind, and also be mindful of infiltrators who will come in your gathering and pretend and act like they are so hurt, and they try to display wrongful signals with no seditions, and you will be discovered and you will be dealt with decisively. We do not pretend. We are clear-hearted Liberians. We know exactly. We are religious people.
As the city mayor of the most populous city in Liberia, Major Jefferson Tamba Koji. Ali, you wanted to come in before I play that tape. Go ahead.
Yeah, that little distraction you did there. I don't know what he was saying over there, but nothing he said made any sense over there. You know, I'm listening to contradiction here. On one hand, they're telling us to wait for the investigation. On another hand, they're telling us that no investigation since George Weah became president has ever yielded any result. Now, the next thing they're saying is, somebody did what they did, but how can we accuse CDC? Now, we're not directly accusing the CDC, but it's just common sense. We know Palestine and Hamas don't have anything against us. I don't think there was a guy over there from Hamas who drove that vehicle into the Unity Party, because we never had an election with Hamas. So if we all agree that this act seemed to be domestic terrorism as a result of the campaign or the election, who do you expect us to look at? Do you expect us to go to Nigeria and look at ABC? No. So the only ad driver we have here is the CDC. And there was a lot of stuff I wanted to talk about, but you actually went ahead of me. There is a pattern. There is a pattern. CDC have always protested whenever Unity Party was to protest. CDC will go after people, beat them. Their lawmaker will go at a university campus, beat everybody up, and nothing happens. So we know if this is domestic terrorism, as we all are alluding to, it wouldn't be anybody else other than the CDC, and I wouldn't put it past Jefferson Project.
Thank you.
Dennis, if I will come in 1 second, Dennis.
Yeah, hold on, Aliyu. What I play is no distraction. If you were distracted, I mean, that is on you. But we want to make the point that Jefferson Koji has said something, and according to Carpet Doyen, fingers are pointing to him. So I wanted to play what he said recently. Go ahead, Mr. Sharif.
Yeah, so what I was basically saying, I will repeat. I don't know if Aliyah was responding to me or Jerome, but I will repeat what I said. There is a litany of issues and events that have occurred over the last several months, perhaps, in the lead up to the election. There were no investigation. There has been no investigation. That is a known fact. What we're talking about right now is the event, the very tragic event that occurred in Monrovia today. And so that's what we are talking about. So I will, once again, how long does this take? Give the security forces, authorities, and security the opportunity to investigate this one. Let's see what they're going to do. When they didn't investigate all the other ones, there were no outrage. Why wasn't there no outrage? So injustice in one place is injustice everywhere.
Thank you.
So that is the problem that I have with our people.
Dennis, can you correct him when you said there was no outrage? People demonstrated in the streets when those three boys disappeared.
Excuse me.
Mr. Sherry, I got a breaking news here. There's a picture that is going around on Facebook. It has not been verified, but according to the story, this person was identified or gotten by the security of Mr. Bwaka. His name is Lawrence K. Williams, born 1992. It is alleged that he was the driver of that vehicle. This is the picture that is making it round, that it was sent to me through while on the show that, hey, they found the person. So I didn't have the time to independently verify this while on the show, but this is the picture of the one who is being identified as the driver of that vehicle that mowed down and killed fellow Liberians at the UP headquarters.
Dennis,
politically, we can start to point fingers, but I want to be careful and responsible. I want to make sure that when the real doer of this act is arrested, there is solid evidence that this is indeed the person who murdered Liberians en masse. And so we're not going to sit around and say, let bygones be bygones. Oh, I forgot. Oh, I didn't know. I just thought it was this person based on their behavior. That's not what we're trying to do. We've gone through a civil war. We've gone through a situation where people were falsely accused of things that they did not do. So I, as a legitimate victim of the Civil War, cannot and will not sit around and let accusations fly around without any solid evidence. I am trying to be careful. I am looking for, and along those trajectory, I am looking for leadership at the same time, from the president to speak to the nation, to address the nation, to tell the nation what the next course of action is. And so until there's evidence pointing to the president, pointing to those who have been named, I am not going to name anybody. In the heat of the moment, we are tempted to say and do all kinds of things. This is very, very serious. This is not child play right here. This is very serious for me. It is very serious.
Thank
Hey,
you,
Dennis,
Professor.
you're dog hungry, Dennis.
Let me go to Elijah. Go ahead, Elijah.
Yes, Dennis, I think at this time of national tragedy, at this time of national mourning, I would have anticipated that all of us on this show, no matter what political party you come from, it will be time to unite. It will be time to come together. It will be time to find what is the way forward. How can we bring our country together, especially at this time when people are mourning, when we can maybe propose a day of national mourning. Because I mean, I'm not a partisan journalist, but I'm a journalist by profession. And when I first heard the story, the first questions I was asking myself, what is the source? I see you just placed on the screen a message from the Unity Party. What is the source of this information? Who's giving this information? Who's passing them on? How are we authenticating this information before we even reacting to them? And we just play Jefferson Koji's tape. I don't know what is the significance of that tape. I think we should be doing at this time of national mourning. I think we should be playing these kind of tape because that's not important at this time. At this time, we should be trying to come together as a people and try to find a way forward. I mean, and I like what's the thing people have said on the show? Yeah, I mean, this is a time that we expect our political leaders to come out and say something, and we expect our security forces to do the right thing, bring the perpetrators to justice. But hey, we are mourning now. It's a time to come together. It's a time of peace. It's not a time of, like I said, it's not about Unity Party. It's not about CDC at this time. It's about us. It's about us as a people. I mean, elections is over. This is the time of celebration. I expect Unity Party, all Liberians at this time should be celebrating. Another thing, the time we should be finding out who has done this, the motive behind what the person has done. We should leave all these kind of things to
I'm sorry,
the security forces. I mean, let the security forces do their job, find the perpetrator, and then they bring them to justice. But at the end of the day, it's about the people who have lost their lives and about their family and how we can bring solace to them at this time. So for me, all this accusation about who's done this or why they've done this, a Unity Party, I think it's like Mr. Sherry said. Let's wait and get all the information. Let's get all the facts before we can make these allegations.
But what questions can you ask now? Because this is a developing story.
Dennis, if I may interject here for a minute.
Hold on, Brian. Let
No, hang on 1 second. As I told you, I had a meeting at 8 o'clock.
Right.
So they're calling upon me now, which is is 9 for you. So forgive me. I will be absent here for a few minutes while I go make a statement over there. I'll turn the meeting over to my able lieutenants because this is an important discussion as well. But Unity partisans are grieving, and we needed to convene tonight. So I'm in between two places. I just wanted to share that information. So when I come back, I will let you know I'm back.
Thank you.
But if anything, if Jerome Gamer say anything about me while I'm sitting there, I know you'll tell me.
No, Mr. Dwight, I'll wait until you come.
You'll wait till I come? Okay.
I won't say anything to you because it won't be fair.
All right.
Okay.
I wanted Elijah to say something, right? Elijah,
okay,
this is
go
a
ahead,
developing story.
All
right?
right.
So
Yes.
in the developing story, you are saying all we need to do is come together and mourn. We shouldn't really find out, and we shouldn't establish any pattern. We shouldn't establish any motive. We shouldn't be able to ask what the
Why
motive
did you come to the
is.
show then? You came to discuss it.
So hold on, Aliyu. Please don't interrupt like that.
I think I have to respond to the questions. My thing is that we yet to discuss about what has happened, right? To discuss what has happened, we should not be making accusation without getting what the actual story is. Right now, whoever is providing these stories are people who claim to be they were. I've listened to some of the story. Like I was close by, 4 people died, 5
No,
people.
but in news you use eyewitness account. You can say you have to wait for the police before you say anything.
I mean, you do, but we who are now on the show, we shouldn't be pointing fingers without getting the facts. That's my point. Because right now, to be able to start linking people to these and say, oh, the fact that he has a pattern, Jeffrey Kochi in the past have said this, and the link is this can be linked to Jeffrey Kochi or to the.
Let me tell you for 1 minute.
It can be linked to CDC. That's where I'm coming from. My thing is, I mean, we can all speculate, but at the end of the day, let's have our facts before we start making accusations, pointing fingers at people. That's my point.
Thank you. Let me go to Jerome before you, Aliyu.
Yeah, Mr. Dennis Jar, let me push back against you for being a little biased here, because when we're talking about the events in the past that we talked about, you played Jefferson Koji's, you played the tape, people being mowed down, but you didn't play the tape in Foya. You didn't play the death of the young man on the Samela Drive or the man in Nimba. You didn't play any of those. You didn't make any reference to them. The reason I'm saying this, and those who are being cautious here, they are right, because when the story came out, they sent me a message that 20 people got killed. Unity Party's own message here that I just sent to you, the press release, they said 3 people got killed and several wounded. So you see the information is coming in bits and pieces. So it is incumbent upon us, and it behooves us to be very cautious as an institution that what we say tomorrow when someone plays this tape, it does not say the CEO of FOL said this. We have to be very cautious. The information is coming in bits and pieces. We have people saying, let's say, for instance, if this man was an angry person who had a motive to do that, and you grab him and you catch him with a CDC ID, because he's a criminal. Now, all of a sudden, if he's a CDC ID, a CDC partisan, or has a CDC ID, then it is a CDC party. If I'm driving down the road and I committed a crime and they saw me with my Republican registration, voter registration in my car and my Republican ID, are you going to say, oh, the Republicans sent him? He did it because he's a Republican and Trump sent him. That's why you are insinuating here. I am an individual that committed a crime. Instead of persecuting me for a crime that I have committed, and then if the investigation linked me to a bigger organizational structure, then you say, well, he is a part of a cell. But for you to come here, Mr. Jai, and play what Jefferson Koji said, and even Mr. Kamara couldn't even understand what that message, why was that play? And then you fail to play the tape in Foya, where the people killed somebody. And then a sitting representative in Foya District Number 1 said, I am going to kill somebody. I am Nyamali. I will kill somebody. And y'all can record me. He went to the police and they did nothing. You're not playing these things. These are words that have meanings. This is a sitting representative.
Okay, let me come in 1 minute.
Hold on, Aliyu.
The sitting representative.
Let me respond.
The sitting representative, I'm going to kill somebody. If I see him,
Jerome, what
you
does
didn't play none
that?
of those. So you are saying what I'm saying here? We
Mhm.
have to be seriously cautious that we do not lean either way
Trying to
because we don't have
distract.
all the facts.
Right. But how does the representative or the killing of someone in Foya, what does it have to do with what happened today?
We are saying, I think Mr.
No, you're talking about me.
Listen,
Not Kamara.
I'm
You said
telling you,
me.
I gave you the trend. Mr. Sharif said it. He said
No,
this is a
Mr.
pattern.
Mr. Gilmer, you said what I said.
No,
You
yes,
said why I
because
didn't play.
yes,
No, hold on.
said
You said
you
what I
said
did. Why I didn't play
you
the
said
incident
there
in
is a
Foya.
pattern that we have to speak to. Okay, that's fine. If that is the deal, then Mr. Sharif said the pattern of this government for not holding people
Mr.
responsible
Gilmer,
goes
talk
all
to
the way
me.
back.
You said me. Don't go
I'm
to
talking to
Sharif.
you.
Right. So you said I did not play the tape in Foya. Why does the playing the tape in Foya have to do with this particular incident?
Okay, but then the tape of Jefferson Koji, what does that have to do with this particular incident?
Oh, no, answer me. I will answer.
No, because what you are trying to do, you are trying to connect what what Jefferson Koji may have said or may not have said to lead to this, and that's false.
No, but what does the incident in Foya have to do with the? Why should it be connected?
I just told you it's a pattern.
Because
It's a
the killing
pattern
someone on the
of.
Somalia Drive, what does it have to do with this one?
I'm just telling you, it's a pattern of not investigating or not holding people accountable that may lead to people being brave enough to do what happened here. It's a pattern. This administration have not held these people accountable for anything. There have been no arrests of the killings in Foya. You heard Mr. Dwyer said, even if you arrest the people, that's not enough.
Okay.
So anybody come and say, well, we arrested a person. This government is not known for holding people accountable and they lead people on to do some of the things they did. So Mr. Sherry is right. But what I'm saying, you have to be balanced. If there is a pattern, then you need to show that pattern consistently, and that you are not done.
No.
And then I'm back.
Hold on. Let me go to Aliu.
Yeah. You know, Mr. Gilmer just trying to play unnecessary victim here. The truth of it all is that the incident that took place today was barbaric. You're talking about a political.
Hey man, they've been stealing power. That's what happened to you when you steal.
And something happened. In this case, people are at their party headquarters celebrating, and you drive through them, and you want to compare this to Foya. But let me just say this to those who say we should wait, we should discuss only evidence. What they forget to know that this is not the magistrate court. This is not the civil court. This is an opinion show. So Dennis put this thing up there and say, who wants to come on and put a link? If you feel that this is not something you want to discuss because you need documented facts, then you got to go and work with the police on that. But as far as we're concerned here, we will connect the dots, and I can make accusations. I can clearly say that I suspect that this was done by the CDC, and somebody's behind it.
Dennis, can I come in there as I was mentioned here?
Yeah, so I was mentioned for, I wanted to, Jerome.
Okay, go ahead.
So Jerome is saying, so according to the information Mr. Doyen gave, sources say this is pointing to Koji. Most of these things, people point to Koji in a couple of these things. During the one when the July 26th incident when Christopher Waters Susuli was brutally beaten, it was after Koji had made a statement that whenever there is a protest, he's going to put a group together for a counter protest. Again, just before this, a day or two before this incident, Koji is saying, CDC people, if you are in your area and you've been provoked, I'm going to send people that we're going to be there. Right? And CDC watch out
on that tape?
Statement.
I didn't see that.
But I didn't play all the 45 minutes of the statement, right?
You are fishing. You are fishing now. Come on.
Hold on. This is no joke. People are dying, and I take this very seriously.
Yeah, but people die, and you didn't say anything about Foya, about
now you politicize
this is not true. This is false.
No, you are not, because you should mention it here. There's a pattern, and I got to push back on this.
I don't want to mute you, but hold on. You explain. Give me the chance to respond to you, right? when it happened in Foya, we had a show about this year. The one on the Somalia draw, we had a show and we played the incident right here. Today, what happened in Foya, my reason for playing that tape is the pattern of Jefferson Koji making statement, and there is something happening. So I played this, and Carpet Dwyer made mention of this is linked to Jefferson Koji. So I play what Jefferson Koji has said recently.
1 minute, please. Can I interject?
No,
No.
hold on. Hold on. I want to go to Carpet Dwyer now.
Yeah, no, I'm coming.
No.
Carpet
Dwyer now.
Let me go to Dwyer. Dwyer, go ahead.
Thank you. And to clarify again, when we make accusations, we need to be careful that the fingers are not pointing back to us. What I said clearly is that the people who were victims of this horrific attack have informed us, not only privately, but publicly on various media, that this vehicle has been menacing them in the past. And that they know the people who were affiliated with this vehicle, who were driving this vehicle, and one of them, they call him DOC, is a driver for Jefferson Koji. Now, the second thing I'd like to clarify, I never said if people are arrested, it doesn't matter. If we say people are dead and we are here to honor the dead and pray for their souls and pray that the perpetrators are caught, I think we have to be careful how we just keep twisting each other's words. What I did say is that this government, as Kamara said, has a track record of not arresting and prosecuting and bringing to justice vicious murderers over its entire 6-year history. And then I made the juxtaposition of Justice Gloria Musu Scott, whose home was attacked while she was home. I didn't say this prior in that, but for the few days before that, she kept complaining to police that strange men were coming to her house. It was not investigated. Finally, they entered the house. According to their own reports, she was in the house crying and calling. Then they arrest her for killing her daughter. That's what I said. So I have no confidence that this government has arrested the actual perpetrator until we dig deeper. So do not mischaracterize my words and accuse us of politicizing a situation while you continue to mischaracterize our words. Jerome, you're a very intelligent man, and I think you have very good recall. So if for any reason you don't recall properly what I said, please ask me. But this is your second time or third time tonight mischaracterizing what I said.
Thank you. So in the days ahead, because this information is breaking, we don't have all the facts yet. But what do we expect in the coming days and weeks ahead? Jimmy, let me start with you. What do we expect? Or what should we expect?
Well, I tell you one thing. If we don't wait for corroborated information and act upon speculation and hearsay, we'll be flaming the fires of ignorance. And that is what happened previously in our history. And before you know it, nobody even know what they were fighting for. So I think we, as mature platform as we are, it is very exemplary that we establish what we know and hope that things will be sorted out properly, show the direction we should be going, and watch to see if we're not going there. So, what will happen in the future? When people emotions involved, you never know what they will do. People act irrationally. They call them crazy, even when they are emotional. But I believe, looking at history and looking at the president's ability to calm his supporters, he knows how to keep them calm, knows how to keep them at bay. I believe he will nip this in the bud. These things are tragic and unexpected,
What does that
but
mean? Nip it in the bud.
if anything is going awry, if we're seeing a outburst of frustration from anybody who's lost the election or feel bad about it, the president would address that. He has always done that. He's always kept them calm. So in the
Specific to
coming
this
days,
incident, what do we
right,
expect? Specifically to this,
specific to this,
yeah.
oh, we're going to get the fact. We're going to get more facts tomorrow. We understand that the man has been a week here. They have arrested a suspect. Let's put it that way. And this suspect is already divulging information. That information will be used to fact find and hopefully gather all the information necessary to take proper action. And that's what we should expect, and no less than that.
Is
Everybody has a right, and we have to respect the rights of all. We don't condone any acts of violence, but we respect the rights of all.
is there a history of this government to do just what you've just described?
That's a good question. We've seen a lot of cases come up in the past, and they've gone unresolved. And what we've noticed is a pattern of some, I would call it some clumsiness, whereby something happens and the scene is not secured. Everybody know when an incident takes place, the first thing to do is secure the scene. If you do not secure the scene, you will evidence will be scattered or tampered with or completely lost. Then notes have to be taken immediately. You have to even know where that car is placed. Where if you see a shirt on the floor, a phone on the floor, all those things have to be noted where exactly they are.
Thank you.
Then you investigate the witnesses right away because it's fresh on their mind what happened. Then you get a more accurate account of what possibly taken. After gathering all that information, then you go into an analysis to determine what happens.
Thank you.
So this is what we want to see. We have to be professional in all instances and not be emotional. This has to be addressed the right way. And if somebody is culprit, then we have to bring them to justice.
Thank you. Mr. Sharif, what do we expect in the days and weeks ahead specifically to this incident? Or what
My
should we
expectation, yes. So first, my brother Ali said that you call us, you put out the announcement, and you call us to this extemporaneous, um, show. Uh, I will hope that you didn't call us to cast blame. You know, I will hope that you didn't call us to,
To do the,
say
to do the job of the police.
XYZ is responsible without evidence. So what I've been saying, our hearts collectively, as the Liberian nation state, is heavy tonight. This is brutal. This is serious. So we must, as a people, address this with the seriousness that it deserves. That said, my expectations are this government must come out with an expeditious investigation. Now that an alleged suspect has been arrested. So the good thing from what we're hearing is that this suspect is talking. This is a good thing. So this suspect will be given due process, I will hope. This suspect will be given his representation. This does not, he doesn't seem to be from this incident, doesn't seem that he's a loner. So this is not a lone suspect, just a lone wolf, just, going out there massacring people. So the evidence now will have to be collected, and the investigators should follow the evidence. So you follow the evidence and not your emotion in this situation. Because if you follow your emotion, you're going to lose evidence. You're going to miss a lot of information. So what if some vigilantes have gone out there and killed this person? Who do you find now? What do you have? Maybe there are big shots behind this. I don't know. You don't know that. Nobody knows that. But what we're going to do now, what we're going to expect now, is that through this suspect who is cooperating with investigation, we're now going to gather, the investigators are now going to gather useful evidence that will be used to arrest the perpetrators of this mass murder, this crime. So when you begin to do that, and then you don't stop there, because you ask, what should we expect now? Don't stop there. You then begin, because this has happened, you then begin to look back at other things that have happened during this electioneering process. I will hope that happens.
Right.
What the
And
question you asked,
do you have faith this is going to happen?
Yeah, Dennis, I expected that you would ask that question. It's very hard. It's very hard. The record is very thin. I don't have faith. I don't have faith. I don't have enough. Let me put it this way. I don't have enough faith in the administration that they're going to have, a full-scale investigation. And this is what I talk about leadership.
Mr. Sharif, you are in Catholic school.
Leadership.
You are in Catholic school, so you know the Bible. Jesus said the faith doesn't have to even be enough. He said it can be as small as a mustard seed, comrade. So don't worry about the faith being enough. It's either you have faith or you don't have it.
Yes, Reverend. So so what I would think should happen, and I'll talk about the leadership tonight in the United States, among the Liberian diaspora community in the United States of America, in Europe. Tomorrow morning, it's in the morning hours in Liberia now. The nation and the community beckons for leadership. And the president needs to answer the call. He is still the president of the Republic of Liberia, George Weah, needs to answer the call to make sure that justice is done, justice is served. That at least can be a legacy for him.
Thank you. We're going to, if you are watching the show and want to join the conversation, the number is 605-313-6004. The code is 791-403#. For those of you based on your phone carrier, they will say they're going to charge you 1 cent per minute. This show is very important that you should please call. Please don't be afraid of the 1 cent per minute. If for any reason you are not able to pay that, please stay on the line. It's not going to take you up to 25 minutes for us to call you. If you are charged that, you can please send me that information. I can cash up you the 20 or 25 cents. Mr. Dwayne, let's look at the few days and weeks ahead. What are we looking at? What do you expect to happen? And even what do you expect from President-elect Bouaka? He's speaking tomorrow.
I expect him to speak. He will speak when he has sufficient information to make a statement. I'm sure you will get a statement tomorrow. But what I expect to happen vis-a-vis what I would want to happen to give me a sense of confidence, to give the Liberian people a sense of confidence, may be two different things. As we have heard from all the panelists tonight, I think there's no disagreement that this government has a poor track record in resolving these kinds of crimes, that all of them, by and large, I may be mistaken if any one has been solved, but all of them remain unsolved over the 6 years of the tenureship. So when people try to say, don't be emotional, this is not being emotional. This is being practical. I'm sitting here as somebody who is viewed and called a father figure by those young people that were mowed down today. So forgive me also from coming from the vantage point of a father. Young people in their 20s, 30s. So many people we are sponsored through the University of Liberia, accounting degrees, can't get jobs. They're burning coal, out there fighting for their future. For them to be mowed down in cold blood. And then we'll sit here and say, oh, the government will investigate. Let's wait for the government to investigate. The government has never investigated and resolved any of these crimes. So I'm not going to speak about what I expect, because I've laid it out. I don't expect it to be anything different from what the past 6 years has brought us, for what I would want to see.
Thank you.
And what I would want to ensure is done prior to this administration leaving office. And if it's not done, to be pursued after they leave office. This investigation needs neutral, partial, international experts.
Oh.
Don't tell me about sovereignty. Nobody can eat sovereignty. We have had other countries coming to provide security for us when it broke down.
Thank you, Mr.
People
Boy.
need to be quarantined in a place where immediately everyone has to have joint custody of the vehicle that was used in the crime.
Thank you.
The so-called, I'm sorry to say, so-called the suspect that has been arrested needs to be interviewed by other experts without anybody else there. Everybody else needs to interview them, because we don't know if it's a legitimate suspect or it's a suspect that has been put there to railroad other people. I'm sorry, but this is the track record from which we have to live by. I don't live by the promises of the future. I live by their behavior of the past and project it to the future.
Thank you. Let me go to Washington, and then we'll bring in the colors.
No, I got to answer to this, so you can't bring the color without me responding to this.
Hold on, please. Let me do my job.
It's a pretty,
but do it fairly. That's all.
It's a pretty interesting exercise. I mean, what I see on the show now is like everybody is responding to everybody, and I think, I don't know whether that's the way we should be going. I mean, when somebody says something, another body comes and responds to them, and we're not getting anywhere. And that's what I said at the beginning. This is a time for unity. This is a national strategy in our time for all Liberians to come together. I don't think it's a time to be pointing fingers and looking at what somebody said, what he didn't say. Even when what his name, Mr. Kamara, started, even at the beginning of the show, the first thing he talked about was death sentence. That was his first word, death sentence. I have to say, you know. I keep saying, like everybody's saying, the way to go is to let go through the process. Like Mr. Eastman said, let go through the process. We are all hurt. This is sad. We expect our government to do more. Yeah, that's all we're asking for. follow the process, do the best thing for our country, make sure the perpetrators are brought to book, make sure the police is doing their job, and that's all. We all just saying the same thing. But hey, let's just do it in a very responsible way. I mean, that's that like Mr. Sherry said. It's not about one day. I mean, even if you don't, like I like Mr. Mr. Gwine said, I mean, many of us don't trust the government. Like he said, yeah, we can get an independent body to come and investigate this, because at the end of the day, the Liberian people want to know what really happened. These are people's lives, and so like that. My thing, I just want the process to just be orderly and let it be done. That's all I'm advocating for, because the whole thing about this man, he said this one, then you come and counter out whatever somebody said, it's not taking us anywhere.
Right. But do you believe this government can do the process orderly in the way that you've just suggested?
I mean, they like the many of our municipalities have said the credibility is very low. They have, in the past, they have shown signs that they have not been credible. And like Mr. Dwight said, yeah, I also advocate.
So you understand why people are a little apprehensive and, in your words, emotional?
Yeah, absolutely, because there are trends. There are trends there, and based on those trends, people wouldn't trust the government. So if they can get an independent body, that would be a great thing to do, so that people's minds are laid to rest.
All right, Mr. Ali, 30 seconds before I bring in the call.
Yeah. Even at 5 seconds about needed. Let me just tell you this tonight. I will be emotional, and I will be whatever adjective. No problem. I will not be nonchalant or intellectual about somebody going up Snapper Hill, rolling a car down on living human beings, just because George Weah did it, and therefore I must be intellectual about it. I did not support Joseph Yuma Boakai so that we can repeat the status quo. Oh, I stole $10 million, but we are brothers and sisters, and therefore let's just come together, and this is peacetime. That is not why I supported Joseph Boakai. I supported Joseph Boakai for deliberate enforcement of the rule and law without any sympathy or empathy for anyone. Do you know how painful it is to roll over somebody's chest with a 3, 4, 5,000 ton of vehicle? I mean, a 3,000 ton vehicle? And somebody tell me, oh, you don't be emotional. We got to go through the process. We've been going through the process for 6 years. What solution have you seen? We're not operating like something is operating in vacuum. I didn't support Joseph Boakai to stand there and give speeches. I supported the reason why Rwanda is peaceful today is because of the rule of law. The law must be enforced. By any means, the law must be enforced. No sympathy, no sorrow, no nothing. I will be emotional. I don't even know who are injured. I got a lot of family in Monrovia. It could be one of my family members gotten killed tonight. So I'm just lay back and say, we have been, we have to look the brass. I ain't got time for that right now.
Thank you. Let me bring on our first caller here. That's Mr. Evans Morris.
He doesn't understand.
Hey, I just want to ask one question though, to Mr.
I gotta get off.
Let me just ask one question. It's a quick question. What do they suggest we do if we do not follow process? I just want to know.
Okay.
If we do not follow process, what do you suggest we do?
Hold on, Jimmy. Let me bring in Evans
Take
Morris.
knives and guns and machetes and stuff like that.
Hold on, guys. We have a caller on the line.
Nonsense.
We have a caller on the line. Mr. Evans Morris, you are live.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. John.
Mr. Evans Morris got his number 1 spot back.
Are you getting me?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, you low though.
Go ahead,
I
Evans.
want to extend my. Are you guys getting me clearly?
Yes, please.
Yeah, loud and clear.
All right, thank you. Yeah, I want to extend my heartfelt sympathy to the UP party, and the families and loved ones, of the deceased and those who were injured. Please, I'm not being insensitive, but Mr. Kamara on that show right there, who's talking? We've been on other shows before. When we saw somebody taking a rock and dropping it on the head of a Sidishan, what was his response? Well, CDC have been doing, they've been doing violence to UP before, so they got what it deserved. When the sedition ear was cut, he said that boy didn't listen to his father. You know, if he had listened to his father, the ear wouldn't have been cut. But now he's an advocate for justice. Justice must be served at all costs because it was presumably, violence was presumably perpetrated against one of his UP's, partisans, or some of his UP's partisans. You have to be balanced. If you don't have a track record of being fair and balanced, we're not going to take you seriously now when you're calling for justice. And anybody who is going to, attach this to President Weah will be out of bounds. Because like Mr. Gilman said, any lone wolf can commit an act of violence, whether it's through frustration, whether it's through personal injury that they feel, these elections will bring to them. Any lone wolf can commit that act. The reality is, if President Weah wanted violence, he would have refused to concede these elections. And definitely there would probably have been violence. If that was his thirst for violence, he would have done that and would have had violence in abundance. But he didn't do it. So anybody who is trying to, say that this president wants violence or he's orchestrating violence to his minions is just out of bounds.
Right.
And lastly, to Mr. Doyen, so please, matter of fact, I won't even go there because your son Patrick and myself are friends. I won't say anything that I won't like him to hear. So I will refrain from even making my comments. I'll just end my call right there. Yeah. I'll leave it there.
All right, but Evan, before you go, all right. 510-600-5682. Your name and where you calling from?
Hi, Dennis. I'm calling from California. My name is Kofi.
Hi, Kofi.
I just want to say thank you to you guys. I've been following the show for the last few months. I really appreciate the maturity of the discussion. Sometimes I really want to get on the show. So I hope to join you guys sometimes in the future. But coming back to what happened today, I think it was already sad day for Liberia, for our nation. And I want to say to Mr. Kamara and Mr. Dwayne, I understand the emotion that you guys have right now. But I also want to just caution you guys to please hold on to that. I agree with some of the other panelists. Let's just hold our weight and see what happens. Hopefully the government can take some actions to address it. Because, Mr. Kamara, like you said, there's something that if an action is not taken, somebody could try to do something similar to tomorrow. So let's give the benefit of the doubt to the government right now. President Weah was very magnanimous in his concession in these elections, and I hope that he's going to follow through on that. I work here at Stanford University, and I do mostly research. A colleague of mine from the Brookington Institute will reach out to me to write a paper on Liberia's democracy. It's like, you guys are doing great. So the paper, if I just got through, I was about to send it to him because I'm traveling to Costa Rica tomorrow. And one of the things I was highlighting in that paper was just the level of tolerance in this election. So now I'm on the fence right now whether to even submit this paper to the Brookings Institute because I was trying to use Liberia as a model for Africa to say, hey, other African countries should follow us. So some of these things, when they're happening, it's just really tragic for our country. We had a really great election, both the political leaders, especially President Weah, was very gracious. He did something that a lot of people didn't think he was going to do. So I was just
I don't know why they think that he was not going to concede. Why people thought that?
I think it was the African syndrome. I think something like that, and I think President Tinubu also talk about this kind of stereotype in Africa where leaders, and especially with democracy receding in the region, I think it's easier for people to say those things.
Bwaka was incumbent VP last election and he conceded. I don't know why they thought he wouldn't.
He went to court though. He went to court.
Right. No, he went to court before the runoff. Right? But no, you're good, Kofi. I'm bringing in the next caller. I got your point. Thank you.
Dennis, I've been mentioned twice now. Can I make a brief comment?
Please jot it down so we can. I want to get through the callers quickly. They are paying 20 cents, 15 cents to stay on the call. Flomo Livingstone, quickly, please.
Anyway, first of all, my sympathy to the loss, not because I'm a unity partisan, but because of life loss, my sympathy go to the families. And praying for recovery for the victims that's in the hospital. This is completely out of terrorism. I mean, there's no way around it. And I don't like when people call it trying to compare another death that took place, I don't know how many days ago. We are not talking about that. We are talking about today. You know, someone just took a vehicle and run into people because they are celebrating that they won the election, and another human being just run over another human being, like running over flies, like killing flies or mosquitoes. No, we shouldn't be here trying to compare whatever happened to other part of the country. We're talking about today. This is tourism. The individual ran into that people and he left that car and jumped over a motorbike, and then they flee away. So it was a plan. It was not something just happened like the person was drunk or the car brake failed. He left that vehicle and jumped over the motorbike, and they escaped. And that's why we always tell people that's why it's not always good to make remarks. Jefferson Coach make that remark and look what happened. You know, I mean, and that's why we always tell people, and I hope the president can come out tomorrow and speak on this. And
Thank you.
For people saying, oh, people are happy. Look, I don't think the government will do anything towards this. And I pray that when GMB get into the office, all the things should be taken in consideration. No, we're not leaving anything behind. They got to be justice. Justice got to be served.
Thank you. Thank you, Flomo. Thank you.
Right.
Thanks for your contribution. William Boyman.
Yeah, Dennis, how are you, Dennis?
Excellent.
And everyone in there. I'm William Boyman, Pastor William Boyman from Philadelphia.
Welcome, Pastor Boyman.
Man, this is a sad event. The election itself was not even violent like what happened today. And even after the president has said such a good word, putting people at peace, why would someone be so angry? You're not even one of the people elected to office. You will be so angry to do such a thing. I have no trust in this government to do a proper investigation of what has happened. Looking at the history of this government. So whatever they do, they will do it. But I'm appealing to the incoming government to do its best to investigate all the cruel thing that has happened to Liberia and that has gone on the ground. Please, they can do what they want to do. But definitely, if this government don't take a step, the new government don't take a step, civil society will demand that investigation be done and that thing be put to rest and justice prevail. Thank you, Dennis.
Thank you. Let me bring on Siata Colley. Sometimes that's the name on the phone. Sometimes it's not the person's name. 585 Iroko, you're live. Your name and where you calling from?
Yeah, this is Joseph Colley. Good evening to all the panelists on board. Hey, are you getting me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, good evening to all the panelists, my brothers. You know, it's a sad day for us in Liberia for what unfolded, which is not good. Our brothers and sisters, you know, with such a thing like that going on, it's very bad. And, you know, I was sickening when I heard about the situation. But like all the other panelists have been saying, this is not time to be throwing blames. And, you know, without evidence, and just make some sweeping statement that, oh, this person is involved. It's not right. That's not the place for us to be. I know Mr. Kamara on the show, and, you know, he's under whether he a detective or whatever he is. And Mr. Doing, who was talking about how to call it, the justice minister, what are unfolded. With no Alex murder, killing his wife and his son, right? He was found guilty. So you don't make you let the people do their investigation. You don't come out and making some sweeping statement, and you know, like you know it all. And it's a sad day. This is a time for us to be mourning and bringing one another together. We know the election occurred. Look, you look at Liberia now, we are split. So we all should be praying that the country come together. We can't be like this and Burakai go lead and the country will be at peace. We will not be at peace, my brothers and sisters. So we all need to pray that as he'll be coming in, that we can be together. When we are united, we can do great things. But this is not the time to be throwing blame. And we pray that even all those that were killed in the past, that there'll be investigation for everybody. And, we cannot condone this kind of act to be unfolding.
Thank you.
Our brothers and sisters are dying. People, committing all kind of acts. They all need to be brought to justice. We can't pick and choose. We can't be selective.
Thank you.
Okay? God bless you all.
Thank you. Thank you. Two more callers and then we'll close the phone lines. 306 area code. You are live. Your name and where you calling from? Three 306-491-7565. Your name, please.
Yes, my name is Patrick. Are you hearing me?
Yes, go ahead, Patrick.
Okay. It's good to hear from you guys and I think all the panelists. But one thing totally frustrating me this time is this killing business is not about pinpointing our people, but you cannot sit and let your brother kill, and you can. Security at this time supposed to be informing you guys, FOL.
Are you there, Patrick?
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
And, okay. Like Kamara and Sharif have been on points. But like Jerome and Washington trying to be partisan business. It's not about, the unity is not about, and let me see, the CDC. If CDC does wrong, we got to say it. You can't always be like, oh, the pinpointing at CDC, the pinpointing at CDC. If CDC does the wrong, say it and go further. The unity among the Liberians have to be straightened. Everybody voted for us to be united. We can't ignore the killing. We can't ignore the person that involved. We have to pinpoint them out.
Thank you.
But thank you.
Thank you. Let me take the last caller here. 1966, the last four numbers, your name and where you calling from.
Hey, hi. My name is Gabriel. Can you hear me?
Yes, Gabriel, go ahead.
Okay, this is my first time actually calling on the show. I have been active, but I want us to really separate ourselves from this issue and look at it objectively. This is a terrorist attack, which is not something that we can overlook because it sets a very bad precedent. We can do our politics, we can disagree, but if you run into people with this kind of height, and as far as I know, this is the first time this has happened in Liberia. So probably we should just set aside our political differences and look at this objectively. There are lives that are lost. We don't even know whether some of these people are related to us. My issue is we have a sitting government that have not spoken to the Liberian people. So what that means is to create a vacuum for people to start to think, how am I going to live, right? I need to do something, and we know we are a post-war country. There are a lot of people who fought in the Civil War, and they are capable of committing some of these violence on both sides. So this is actually a leadership movement, and it has international implications. I don't think this is going to be conceded or it's going to go away easily. But just the fact that the president have not spoken, and this is not personal, this is about life. It bothers me, regardless of where you stand on political or divide. This is a terrorism. We have to call it for what it is.
Thank you, Gabriel.
A nation needs leadership so it can escalate. That is just my view. And people are free to disagree, but I'm not comfortable. I have not gone to bed because I don't know if any of my relatives are victims. I don't know.
Me neither.
I'm sitting here, I'm safe because there's maximum security, but I'm not sure if anybody related to me today is there because we had our elections and people are happy. They didn't do anything wrong. They just celebrating. So I'm just going to stop there.
Thank you. Thank you. And let me start with Jerome. I don't think you spoke on before we went to the colors. So my question to you, and also respond to the caller, is what if President Weah, because we are all careful not to implicate anyone, but what actions from the president will show some leadership here or tell us that this cannot be tolerated from the sitting government? What do we expect from the president?
I'd like to go right away, Dennis.
No,
I like that question. You see, you see, your question is a question that calls for action. An action, legal, correct action, and institutionalized action. When we have these sort of attacks that go on, lone wolf attack, or maybe just a minor group attack, we can expect that something similar may go on again. So what we need to do now is to create a special task force that will create it to quickly respond to such incidents of attack. There are other countries who had similar situations. What they did, they activated female police who served, who connected with women in the community. So whatever they see going on, if they see a would-be, as people talk, these things, they iterate these things, they talk violence. When they see something that they think is potentially able to cause damage or hurt somebody else, they inform the security authorities so that these people can be put on watch. This is what we should be doing now to prevent this. Have strengthen our security and intelligence, and have them have plainclothes people, common people, community involvement to address and spot these things before they happen. That is how we will get. We need to address this issue so before it happens again. That's what I like to see from or response from the government.
I'm talking about the president, specifically President Weah. What do we expect from him?
The President Weah is the head of state. He is the chief what do you call it, commander in chief. So these things, this is the directive he should send out, so that this force is put in place. People are summoned, people are gathered, so we can be watchful in our communities to prevent this sort of thing happening again.
Thank you. Jerome, it was your question that Jimmy took.
Yeah, and that's good. The president has been very good when it comes to being laissez-faire and to a fault. But at this point, he has to compel the justice minister, because if this thing goes unpunished, it has the proclivity of tit for tat. It will get even bigger. So the president has to show the world that, listen, we got 6 more weeks in office. This investigation cannot be done, prosecuted, and order conviction, all that happen within 6 weeks. It cannot happen. So this will have to be done on the watch of the new leadership. However, the president has to intervene immediately to make sure that this is not the beginning of something bigger, where somebody feels, this is why I agree with Mr. Sharif, what leaders and what we say on these platforms has so much weight and carries meanings. Because now we are trying to make it, some people are trying to make it CDC versus, how do you call it, a United Party. If they hear it from someone and he's saying, we take matters into your own, there will be people out there going after anybody that they find to be sedition without the fact. This is what we are saying. We have to be very, very careful, measured. When we say the president has the power to calm the country, we are the country. We ourselves have to do our part to calm each other down, to make sure that we console each other, to make sure we pursue justice. And when the new administration coming, wherever this administration left off, they can continue. So I think the president or the executives will send a very strong warning that if we don't do so, next time, I don't want to get anybody idea, but they could come with a gasoline truck and blow up the whole town or something. We don't want it to go that far. So we, the government, including you and myself, we all have to do our part to calm the situation down and let justice prevail.
Mr. Doyen, are you available? If not, we'll go to Mr. Sharif. Go ahead, Mr. Sharif. You can respond to the callers.
Okay. Well, he's back.
Yeah, Mr. Dwyer, you said you wanted to respond to the callers.
No, let Mr. Sherry go ahead.
Okay. So basically, there are two pathways. One pathway is to say the prescription to this violence is more violence. So we're going to respond tit for tat. Is that what we want? I don't think that's what we want. The other pathway is to allow an investigation to occur. And this investigation will occur within the parameters of established law, which I hope that this government, the outgoing government, should do. But if the outgoing government, for some reason, is unable to do this, there is an incoming administration.
In 6 weeks.
So what is preventing Mr. Boakai from picking up and say, I'm going to start right here, right now? So why are we, we can say and blow off steam. I can't accept this. This is just blowing off steam. What do you want? You want a Central African situation where, a group of people kill your people and you take machetes and guns and rocks and stuff like that and kill their community and eliminate their communities too? That's not what we want. A tragedy has already occurred. So let us allow the investigation to occur. Maybe there are groups of people behind this. So what will vigilante justice do now? What good will vigilante justice do right now if we don't go after the perpetrators? Maybe there's a cabal out there. We don't know that. So an investigation would tell us who's behind this. But we're not going to sit on here, blow up steam. I have blown up enough steam. I want reason to prevail right now. I am hurt. I have been hurt since 1990, since 1989. I have been hurt since 1989. Tonight, I am hurt again. I want reason to prevail. I don't want to sit here and blow off steam. I don't want to sit here and criticize people who say that reasoning should prevail, because reasoning should prevail. And lastly, Dennis, I don't want to sit here and say the international community must come here and do it for us. We are a sovereign nation. We are a nation with established constitution. We have our police force. We have our justice system. So let this new government that the Liberian people have elected take up the challenge. If George Weah would not do it, this new government should. Or this new government must, not should, must
You mean after inauguration?
After inauguration, I should say the incoming government must after inauguration. If George Weah will not do it. So this is how we're going to go with. So, okay, so let's just say we call the Americans to come in. We call the Europeans to come in, investigate for us. Oh, the next time there's something else, we're going to call the Americans again? We're going to call the Europeans again? I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to, that's not a prescription for us. Okay? We are an independent nation state.
Thank you. Mr. Kamara.
Yes, sir. I just want to point a few things. For me, I'm not used to the long speeches. All right. You watched the video when that car was on fire today. That vehicle was on fire. Can you estimate, Dennis, how long it took for that vehicle to actually get burned down? And tell me, what is the distance from Ashburn Street, where the fire service headquarters is, to where that car was being burned? Could they even be a quarter of a mile? No. Did the fire service even go there? That's one. Number two, when incidences like this occur, isn't it a fact that the police commissioner or somebody from the police force must immediately address the public? Did you see any of that happen? So for somebody to tell me, let's just do, it's like I don't know what's happening in the country. I'm in the country every year. I know nothing is going to happen. But let me clarify something for the audience. This is not for Sherry. This is only for the audience. I said here, again, let me be clear. I supported Joseph Yuma Boakai primarily for the enforcement of the rule of law. And he turned it around and said, they should take machetes and go kill each other. I supported Joseph Yuma Boakai not to hear about peace or 1990. We know what we've been through, so let's be careful. If we do all that, we're not getting anywhere. The law must be enforced by all means necessary. The government must act with immediate effect. Now, I'm not disputing that, when the next government comes, they will take over or whatnot. We're talking about right now. I have not said any statement here that said that we should go after people to kill them. I've never said that. And I have not directly accused anyone here. I have suspected someone here. And that's within my purview. And I stand by my suspicion. I suspect that there are hands behind that young man who carried out that act today that are bigger than himself. I believe that. And what I'm telling you here is going to come true. I am not waiting for George Weah to give speech or whatever, or to talk about what George Weah knows how to talk about, other than to go to public and talk stuff there. I'm not waiting for that. I am impressed that a human being, a living human being, can go up the hill, open all doors. There were living witnesses that saw it with their eyes vis-a-vis. Do I need to come on here to be lectured as to how to hold my peace and wait for investigation? I know about that already before coming on here. The purpose of me being on here is for us to analyze it, give our opinions about it, and I'm giving my opinion about it.
Thank you.
Dennis, real quick. Yours is not, then I didn't say that you order a war with machetes and all. I asked a rhetorical question. What do you want now? Do you want a Central African Republic situation where people are taking machetes to murder
that was a rhetorical question.
Or are you just going to blow off steam? So when people talk, please listen. Some of you guys don't listen when we're talking. All right? So listen. That's the problem with us. Listen.
Thank you.
Ask a rhetorical question. And I don't know if that's your goal, that's fine. But as far as I know, I think you're just blowing off steam.
Thank you. Mr. Washington.
Well, there's nothing for me to respond in terms of the callers, because one of the callers, I think he...
But answer the question, specifically the president. What do we expect from him that would tell us that he's serious about this or not?
Well, what I expect the president to do now is to express and I mean, in the past, a lot of people think that CDC in the past, this government in the past, haven't done enough when it comes to justice. And I think this is the time now that he needs to kind of put his foot down and say, hey, I'm going to follow this thing to the letter. I'm going to ensure that my security people, my intelligence, everything, we're going to make sure that this is done in the right way so that everybody's satisfied. Because you don't want to just leave it with the security people. I want to see the president himself get involved in the sense that He's putting pressure. He's making sure there's clarity. He's making sure that everything is done in the right way. There are no people, people just kind of, calling things up, but just make sure that there's clarity and everything is done and justice is brought. That's what I want to see. I want to see that the president take leadership. This is the time to take leadership because everyone now is looking up to him.
And what if that doesn't happen?
What if it doesn't happen? Then, like most of our callers are yet, the next caller should be able to take the action. I say, hey, what we thought happened in the last government's rule in this death of our people, we thought they didn't do the right thing. It's our time to take leadership and make sure that we find perpetrators and bring them to justice.
Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Dennis. Thank you, panelists. Thank you, callers. We listened to the callers, and somebody said before that they were disappointed that this was devolving into people responding to comments that other people made, and that this was time for unity. I believe it was Washington.
Yes, I did.
The reality is that we are in a very sad day. People have lost their lives in an act of political violence that is clearly domestic terrorism. And for some reason, whether people want to make sure that it is not cast in the worst possible light, or people who are connected or maybe suspected are not cast in the worst possible light, words are being placed in people's mouths that were never said. With regards to the machete characterization, those of you who will listen to the recordings of this, my recollection is a statement was said to the extent of, you want people to go and catch them, get their machete and chop people down. Nobody ever made that statement tonight. So why was that even necessary here? So it's making it seem as if somebody here made that statement. So if somebody had walked into the bathroom and didn't hear the rest of this show, they'll come in thinking one of us made that statement, and that's unfair. Okay? And for the record, I've never accused President Weah of being behind this. I put the challenge to him that your concession statement, for us to believe that it is genuine, we need to see results. We need to see the results. And we are asking for results against a backdrop of 6 years of no results. So when we ask for international intervention, it is not surrendering our sovereignty. It is asking for credibility to the process. Because none of us here have praised this government when it comes to fighting crime. So if for 6 years, this government has failed to fight crime, and we all have agreed that they have not lived up to their expectation, why should we expect them to live up to it now?
Thank you.
And the statement was made, why can't Boycott do this? It would be unconstitutional. Joseph Boycott has no control over the government machinery. And who can he order to go carry our investigation? Why should this even be put on him? This, to me, is trivializing the lives that were lost tonight.
Can I interject?
No, you don't interrupt me, please.
Hold on.
I've never interrupted you. Please don't do that.
I'm not interrupting. I'm asking for interjection.
You are interrupting me.
I'm asking for interjection.
Hold on, Mr. Goodman. Let him finish. You have a time to speak.
You are interrupting me. That statement was made here. I'm not going to be calling the names of who said what. We all watched this show. We're all participating here. And it was also deflected that, Unity Party can take over this investigation when they take over 2 months from now. The evidence could be compromised by the time Unity Party takes over. This is why the international security analysts need to be present now. Or some mechanism can be created where tonight the security of this evidence is put under a system that has integrity. As I said earlier, because somebody was arrested, I don't know if that is a true culprit or somebody that is being railroaded to railroad others. So we should look at this from the context of the fact that we had an election and there was a celebration. I think under normal security procedures, when hundreds or thousands of your citizens are gathered in the kind of celebration that was happening tonight, there will be security presence.
Automatically.
If this was a CDC celebration, I can assure you that there will be massive security presence. So those Liberians tonight were neglected by the government because they were not supporters of the president. Let's call a spade a spade. The fact that there was sparse police presence, the number of people on Broad Street are not up that hill.
Don't you think you're making some assumption there?
There you go. Thank you.
Well, I'm not making assumptions. I know what we were told. The security presence was sparse, and that's why the people escaped. By the time they could get out of the car after ramming people to have enough time to light a car on fire and to escape on motorcycle. I'm not making assumptions. I'm going by what we were told and what exactly the actions, the activities, what happened after. If there was massive security presence, there were
also let's be mindful that this may even have nothing to do with the elections. Who knows? We don't know yet, right?
We don't know yet.
Right.
But the fact that hundreds or thousands of Liberians were gathered,
right,
and they were mowed down, and the security presence was sparse, and people managed to escape, had time to get down, burn a car, jump on a motorcycle. Let's not play on each other's intelligence. And nobody's being emotional here. We don't trust the government. They don't have a good track record.
Thank you, Mr. Doyle.
There needs to be intervention.
Thank you.
Dennis, real quick. Dennis, real quick.
I'm coming.
But I have to respond.
I know. I will give you the opportunity. I just want to say we are about to draw down the curtains for your closing, right? So you can wrap that up in your closing statement.
Okay. I hope Mr. Dwyer is listening. He come back on. He keeps going back and forth. But I hope
I'm listening. I'm muted, but I'm listening.
Got you. Okay. So please listen to this. My question was rhetorical about the machetes. I said there were two pathways. So what do you want now? Do you want a Central African situation? Some years ago, there was civil war in Central African Republic where communities were eliminating one another with machetes and guns and stuff like that. Is that what you want? Or you want due process? And the second part of my comment is I'm pushing back on what you said about the international community. We are a sovereign republic. So this George Weah should be mandated to investigate, carry out this investigation. And then you misstate my position by saying, oh, you call on Joseph Boakai to do the investigation. Why should he? Because he hasn't taken office yet. Look, I understand politics. So no one is going to come out here and lecture me about politics. I've been in this thing for a long time. So Joseph Boakai, and Dennis corrected me on that. He's the incoming president. He's going to be president in January, whatever it is, January 21st, January 22nd. So at that point, if George Weah does not do anything, the responsibility for him is he just going to sit there and say, my predecessor didn't do this, so I'm not going to do anything. He was supposed to do it. He has the responsibility then to do something. So when we say something I mean, we can all sit here again and blow off steam. At the end of the day, 2 days from now, what are we going to do? So if we're not advocating for violence, what are we going to do now? Aren't we waiting for the judicial system? I mean, we've all been in this militancy. At some point in time, we're going to let the judicial system to take over. We're going to let law and order prevail. Our hearts are heavy. This is a tragedy. I mean, we're not playing games here. This is not child play. This is real for me. It's been real for me since 1990, 91, 92. This is real. Tonight is real, as was all the other violence that are related to this campaign, as for all the other violence that were related to other administrations. This is real. So that's what we're talking about. We can go all cast blames. We can sit here and talk all we want. At the end of the day, we're going to have to wait for the investigators to do the investigation. And there should be no international intervention in this process. So the Liberian government should be able to investigate, hold the culprits accountable. If George Weah cannot do it, Joseph Boakai, on day one, this should be a priority, because this can never happen again. This should never be allowed to happen. That's my, and that's what I think should happen.
Thank you. Thank you. That's your closing. Let me go to Washington for his closing.
It's been a heated exchange, but I think it's been.
Mr. Washington, can you shift a little bit? You're on the side. I keep messaging you, but
sorry, at my phone, I'm not. Can you see me now?
There you go.
Thank you. Well, yeah, thanks, Danny, for inviting me on the show today. It's been a wonderful show, but it's been a sad day for our country. And before I end this show, I'd just like to appeal to our government to declare a date of national mourning. And like I said in my earlier statement, this is a time for us to come together as a nation. Not CDC, not UP. It's a time for us to come together as a nation. This act, we all agree. There's no question about it. We all agree this is horrific. This is tragedy. This is sad for our country. But it's a time to come together, unite, and don't let this define us. And this is the time to also take care of the needs of the victims and the survivor. We shouldn't just leave them there. We should take care of them, take care of their needs. And I think it's a time to come together and hold together and move our country forward. So it's not a time to, CDC people want to go after United Party people. United Party power want to go after CDC people. I think that's the way to go now, is to unite our country and to hold together, because we all believe that this is wrong and we all condemn what has happened.
Thank you. Jimmy?
Thank you, Ja, and gentlemen, thank you for your company on this panel. It has been something of evaluation. There will be incidents where these things happen. And what is more important, as we grieve, as we mourn, as we recognize the harm it does to us. I don't consider this an act against the UP party. I consider this an act against Liberians. And that's how I look at it. Any violent act against Liberians is something I abhor, and I will be bitterly against. But what we also need to do is, when these things happen, we have to charter a course to correct these actions so that they're not repeated. And that requires sober thinking. That requires sound, professional, and strategic methods to employ. We need to correct these things so that it doesn't happen again. And we have the ability. I share the view with Sharif that we need to be sovereign. We need to be a nation that can handle their own problems. To have to always go to an international body to mediate our own problems, I think it's a lacking on our part. And the way we can correct that is to simply implement methods to thwart that sort of behavior, to correct it so it doesn't repeat itself. We can afford to do this ourselves, and that's how we have to look at it. But I join Washington. I hope tomorrow is declared a day of mourning for the lives that lost, and a task force is developed to discourage this whole act and to counteract it before it ever happens again. We don't need violence, and we don't need any of our citizens losing their lives. Again, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Gaiman?
Yes, one of the things we don't want to do is, and we're not going to allow, is to make this horrific crime of CDC versus Unity Party. These are Liberians.
You call it a crime?
Yes. It's criminal.
Okay.
And there may have been, everybody that went to celebrate Joseph Walker's success may not have all been Unity partisans. There are other Liberians there who are non-partisan that just like good news from our country.
They
And
just want to celebrate, right? Some even selling their oranges and
oranges and everything. So we cannot make this a Unity Party versus, it's a Liberian tragedy. And the rule of law must prevail. We might have hope. Like we say, it is a fact. Capital punishment, capital crime does not have any statute of limitation, especially murder. So you cannot say, you did it in Georgia time. No. The rule of law must prevail. There are people who say here that were victims in the past war who look at Casper Doyen and they say he's a war criminal. They say he was a war general. But
who's saying it?
The Liberian people. And
Like
that's what we are saying. The law has to take its
Can you
course
quote anyone?
until Mr. Dwyer is taken into a competent court of law and the victims testify against him. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt, even though they say factually he was a warlord. So
who are you quoting, Mr. Gaiman?
We insist that the rule of law prevail. And Liberians, please, as we are sitting on this particular platform, the story has changed from 20 people dead to an official statement from the Unity Party that 3 people dead, several people in a hospital. So that tells us that we don't have all the information. So let level heads, rationality, our emotion, the reason that we are more educated, more civilized, more cultured, is that we are measured based on facts. If we don't have all the evidence, we cannot be declarative. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you. Mr. Dwyer, are you there for your closing? All right. We don't have Mr. Dwyer yet. Gentlemen, I want to say thank you so much.
No, I'm here.
Go ahead with your closing statement. You have at most 2 minutes, sir.
At most 2 minutes. People be speaking for much longer than 2 minutes. Why am I now being constrained?
I know that. I just.
That what happened when you go off the screen.
No. We started this with Jerome Gaiman speaking about politicizing the death of people. Before I come, and let me first deal with that. Jerome, you're an educated man. I believe you have seen the Truth and Reconciliation report from 2009. It is a 384-page document. I was a witness, a voluntary witness, not a summoned witness, to the Truth and Reconciliation hearings here in Minnesota when I was president of the Liberians in Minnesota. I facilitated work with the advocates for human rights to make sure that hearing took place. And Liberians, we facilitated travel for people from all over. If you look at that report, you will not see one word, one mention of my name in it. So for you to bring that here tonight when people are dead and we're talking about, you are the one that talk about politicizing this process and talking about evidence. You are politicizing the death of our people tonight, Jerome, and you need to stop that. You need to stop that. Go read the TRC report from 2009. Find a page or the line that has my name. Out of over 20,000 witnesses in Liberia, in Ghana, in the diaspora. That was just something that exposes the issues of Liberia today that we are dealing with. I challenge you to name that one person, to find that one person out of the 20,000 witnesses that took part in that TRC hearing. So again, we get back to the fact that whether it was 20, whether it was 10, whether it was 3, people were mowed down in a Unity Party celebration tonight. And my opening statement was that President Weah had a responsibility to match his rhetoric with his actions. We have all agreed that this government has a poor track record in investigating these murders and these crimes. And for us to sit here and assume that we can all just trust them because we don't want to bring international people. We have sovereignty. Every other need we have, we're pretty willing to call on the international community. But when it comes to securing evidence, when it comes to a government that has questionable character in investigating these senseless murders that have gone unanswered for the past 6 years, all of a sudden we cross sovereignty. Let's be real, my people. We don't trust this government to investigate this. And I say this without any hesitation. We don't trust this government to not be involved in the destruction of evidence. We don't trust this government to not be involved in finding scapegoats to protect the real perpetrators. And President Weah needs to demonstrate the validity of his words to mean action. And in these discussions, we expose our true characters. Thank you very much and good night.
Thank you. Gentlemen, I want to say thank you so much for coming on so quickly. This was never planned, but you were quick on your feet. I appreciate your time. I want to thank our viewers and even those who will watch later. Always focus on Liberia, where we educate, we elevate, and promote all things Liberia. This indeed was a tragic incident, an act of domestic terrorism, I will call it. And I take responsibility for that description. That's how I feel about it. And we are saddened by this. This is the very first time such a copycat incident has happened. It's happened in Europe, in America, and now it's in Liberia. That is very scary. And we hope that the perpetrators will be brought to justice and deal with in accordance with our law. Until then, we close with our song that says, whether you are UP, CDC, LPP, UPP, NDPL, whatever, we are all Liberians. It is incumbent upon all of us to do whatever it takes to make our country the glorious land of liberty. Have a good night, and God bless you.
We are